The Brees-Eli Duel of 2015. One man disguised himself as a mysterious Penn State walk-on named Chad Powers.
Hello, I'm Chad Powers. Hey. Boom, right in the chest.
Another man had his birthmark rubbed by the great Oprah Winfrey.
Who just kissed you? There's a big old
Was
kiss
it?
right there.
No.
Wow, it's...
And was fake struck by lightning. Together, though, these two men did something magical in 2015 when they conjured another type of electricity on one afternoon in the Superdome.
All of the lights on the 49ers side of the Superdome are out.
Enough power to keep the lights on at 100 Super Bowls. Today, I am revisiting one of the greatest quarterback duels of all time. Drew Brees versus Eli Manning, a classic shootout of a game between the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints that featured 855 total passing yards and 14 total touchdowns, with 13 of them coming through the air. A game that popped back on my radar when I was researching Peyton Manning's 7-touchdown game in 2013. Today, we relive one of the greatest passing games we've ever seen, and yes, my hair is a tribute to Sideline Eli. Did I nail it? That's good sports. If you'd like to get into heaven, subscribe here. Buff? Bundle. Buff? Grundle? No, bundle. Today's episode is sponsored by manscaped.com/goodsports and their buff bundle. Maybe you're one of those men who have naturally hairless bodies, or you've already purchased Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0 and new beard trimmer for all of your body hair grooming needs. Well, I highly recommend the buff bundle to cleanse your smooth body, which includes 2 bottles of their powerful body wash and the body buffer. Ditch your disgusting loofah or washcloth which harbor bacteria and famunda cheese and get the antibacterial silicone scrubber to nourish, clean, and exfoliate your skin and body. Manscaped's body wash is all I've used for the last couple of years, and my wife Jess was constantly snaking it and leaving it at the tub, which is why I now always have at least 2 bottles of each. Guess what 2 bottles comes with? The Buff Bundle. So use my link below, manscaped.com/goodsports for 20% off plus free shipping with your cruelty-free, dye-free body wash and buffer. Now, before we get into the game itself, let's dive into these two teams. The 2015 Saints and 2015 Giants were not good teams, nor even average teams. They both posted losing records that year, but their potent offenses and equally inept defenses were recipes for a contest that resembled arena football as much as it did NFL football. If only they had the wall. Remember the wall?
You're going to have a player in your lap.
R.I.P. Arena Football Wall. Now, a literal wall would have provided more defense than the Saints or the Giants from this game. New York fielded the 30th ranked defense in the NFL in 2015, so bad that it freed Steve Spagnuolo up to leave for Kansas City, where he suddenly decided to be good at coaching again. I also find it ironic that while Peyton Manning was playing the worst football of his career that season and was saved by the no-fly zone, Eli Manning tossed 35 touchdowns and captained the 6th best offense, while his defense allowed nearly 28 points per game. Meanwhile, the Saints were in the middle of a forgettable 3-year stretch that was highlighted by just insane Drew Brees numbers. He led the league in passing yards this season with 4,870, his 6th year in a row with at least 4,500 passing yards, and he notched his 100th career win, only to be overshadowed by some of the most putrid defense in the league, a problem that would only be fixed in 2017 when the team drafted Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, and Trey Hendrickson. Marcus Williams was and is a really good player, just not that one time that he's famous for.
Steps into it, pass is caught!
But before then, they thought signing former Legion of Boom cornerback Brandon Browner could fix their issues, when in reality, life wasn't so easy when you're not playing next to Richie Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor. 2015 was the absolute rock bottom for Sean Payton's defense. 32nd in scoring, 32nd in passing touchdowns allowed, and 31st in total yards. So outrageously bad that it got Rob Ryan fired in week 10. Just 14 days after this game that I'm finally going to talk about happened. One of the greatest offensive showcases of all time, believe it or not, began with a 3-and-out and a Thomas Morstead punt, which opened the door for a methodical drive that nearly petered out at the 2-yard line. But knowing, very wisely I might add, that his defense wasn't going to play that well all game, Tom Coughlin elected to go for it on 4th and goal and put the ball in Eli Manning's hands. Coughlin was rewarded for his decision when Manning hit second-year wideout receiver Odell Beckham Jr.
Boom, right in the chest.
For a touchdown, scoring the first 6 points of the game that would reach a combined high score of over 100. Safe to assume OBJ would have a long career with the Giants and never, ever be traded, especially to a hellscape like Cleveland. Now, Brees said no more punting, mother lickers. On the ensuing drive, the 36-year-old, who still had an arm, by the way, fired a seed to tight end Ben Watson, a 25-yard pickup on 3rd and 7. And yes, this is the same Ben Watson that a full decade earlier had chased down Champ Bailey in the playoffs, knocking him out at the 1-yard line and forcing a fumble that definitely was not a touchback and will never, ever be a fucking touchback. Now, 2 plays later, the Saints reached into their bag of tricks, and pulled out a flea flicker that ended with a Willie Snead touchdown. This was the first of 4 consecutive touchdown drives for the Saints. After spotting the G-men 7 points, Brees threw 4 touchdown passes in a row. That would put the Saints up 28-14 late in the first half. Now, in the midst of all of that scoring, Eli Manning managed to fit another 1-yard TD pass into OBJ, but it was looking like the Giants weren't equipped to keep up with the marching Saints offense. And really quick, I do want to talk about Odell Beckham Jr. and where he was in 2015. After putting up one of the most remarkable rookie seasons of all time in 2014, he managed to eclipse those great numbers in 2015, posting over 1,400 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns, averaging 15 yards a catch. This was also the year he graced the cover of Madden, got into it with Josh Norman late in the season, but before he ever got more into it with a kicking net. Now, prior to the boat pick, Beckham was a different player, a special player that halted his Hall of Fame progress when he was traded to Cleveland. I tricked you earlier, didn't I? I said he would never be traded to Cleveland, but he got traded to the Browns. But for now, he was an integral part of the Giants' offense, and that offense managed to score with just 7 seconds remaining in the first half when Manning found Shane Vereen for a 2-yard touchdown, cutting the Giants' deficit to just a touchdown at intermission. Now, this was certainly a duel, but Manning's 3 touchdown passes amassed just 5 combined yards, while Brees' scoring throws racked up 115 yards. So far, Brees had been dropping dimes from any spot on the field, while Eli was moving the ball bit by bit and dinking and dunking TDs.
Good ball, Chad!
But that all changed on the first drive of the second half. Eli said, "I can go deep too," and he used that patented Manning speed to roll out and drop a 50-yard bomb to Beckham, knotting the score up at 28. So far, just 32 minutes into the game, these 2 quarterbacks had thrown for 4 touchdowns apiece. That's 8 total. And less than 2 minutes later, Brees would make it 5, dropping a perfect pass in the bucket to Brandon Cooks, a rookie who had yet to be traded for a record 4 times in his career. Now, Brees was sitting at 5 touchdown passes with plenty of the game left to go. At this point, it felt plausible that not only would he throw 7 and tie the NFL record, he could probably fit in an 8th if he kept his foot on the gas. But the third quarter wasn't quite as electric as the first 2. The Giants fumbled. Brees gave it right back with an interception to Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and the Giants punted on 4th and 3 from the Saints' 47-yard line. Kind of a cowardly move in a shootout like this. In fact, let's check John Boy's surrender index, which shows this punt had a surrender index of 4.5, which puts it around the 50th percentile of cowardly punts. Pretty sure that's bad. I still don't even understand how this stat works. We had another flurry of points. Brees hit Ben Watson for a 20-yard touchdown following that cowardly kick, making it look even dumber and extending the Saints' lead to 14 points. It was 42-28. Now, Brees had 6 touchdowns with a full quarter to go, but Eli calmly answered with 2 touchdowns of his own after a 3rd down fumble was negated by pass interference. Both touchdowns were to former Cowboy Dwayne Harris, who 3 years later would score a mystifying touchdown against Denver that fucking ruined my Christmas Eve dinner, which was manicotti, by the way, because I'm an idea. So anyways, we were tied at 42. And Brees was about to throw another touchdown, except this time, it was to the wrong team. Tremaine McBride snagged a ricochet from Willie Snead and took it back 63 yards to the house. What was a 14-point Saints lead not long ago now became a 7-point Giants advantage. The Saints needed a touchdown. They had 7 minutes and they nearly used all of it, piecing together a 14-play drive that finally culminated with Brees' 7th or maybe 8th touchdown pass if you count the pick 6. This time to C.J. Spiller. This was not Spiller's first big touchdown of the year. All the way back in Week 4 on Sunday night against Dallas, Brees hit Spiller on an 80-yard touchdown for the win on just the 2nd play of overtime. Nearly a Tebow to Thomas level quick strike. This time, he had evened up the game. It was 49-all. The Giants had 41 seconds to get into field goal range, but they could only amass 5 yards, forcing them to punt with 20 seconds left on the clock. Historically speaking, punting late in tie games is rarely a good move for the Giants, but they had no choice here. Brad Wing actually got off a nice punt, but Marcus Murphy had way too much time to operate with, and he dashed right through the Giants punt team. Disaster nearly struck when Murphy lost the ball, but Willie Snead was there to make up for his earlier blunder, and he got taken down by his face mask, which moved the ball all the way from the Giants 46 to the Giants 31, setting up a Kai Forbath from an even 50 yards. And 4 baths couldn't clean the stank off the Giants after this loss because Kai drilled it. They scored a combined 101 points. 2 more than big brother Peyton and division rival Tony Romo put up 2 years earlier in another great shootout. Those 101 points made this game the 3rd highest scoring game of all time at the time, behind only a random Browns-Bengals shootout in 2004 and a 72-41 Washington victory in 1966, also against the Giants. And Brees joined Peyton Manning and Nick Foles, who had each thrown 7 passing touchdown games in 2013. I did a video about that Manning game, by the way. And while these teams piled up over 100 in this game, they only combined for 13 wins in 2015, proving that while terrible defense makes for really fun football, it's not a winning recipe in the long term. And you know, the Broncos proved defense still mattered that year. Yes, I have to make it about my team, and I did a 2015 entire season recap in case you want to watch what happened in 2015. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports Shootout Edition with Drew Brees and Eli Manning. If you got another shootout you want to see me recap, let me know in the comments, please. Maybe that Chiefs-Rams game? Maybe that Manning-Romo game? What should we do next?